Hello, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm excited about talking to my favorite country in the whole world, Aussie. And as we always say, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. And I'm very excited about talking to George's group here because I love property, and I just really love Australia. I went to Australia for the first time in 1972 to play rugby union. I know this looks like a league shirt, but I played union with the stripes going this way like a convict. But anyway, I love Aussie, 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 and it's an exciting time. And Aussie really is the lucky land, really, really is. And I've often thought about moving to Aussie and living there just because it is the lucky land. And as I said, I went there in 1972 to play rugby. We played Bondi, Randwick, and Newcastle, and needless to say, we lost every game. Americans are not good rugby players, but we did drink a lot with you guys. So it was one of the best trips of my life. And after that, I used to go to Australia. I went to the 5 capital cities and just loved the country. And I bought property in Bondi, Rushcutters Bay, and in Brisbane. And so I'm a little bit familiar with your property. So I'm very happy I was talking to George there. I love his formula. He's a very smart man. And he and I agree on most of the things we talk about here. So let me talk about real estate right now. Number one, I say to every Aussie, is property is only as good as there's jobs. Let me say it again. If there's no jobs, property is no good. So a lot of your property value depends upon what you export and people coming in. And with Aussie shut down with COVID and all this stuff, you've really got to be careful on where your jobs come from. Because I've been to Darling Harbor and all this stuff. They're just beautiful places. But if the tourists don't come in, it affects jobs. And up in the north is what are your exports, the sheep and hay and coal and things like this. So always remember, real estate is only as good as their jobs. So if you're going to be a property investor, hang out with George. You have got to be smarter no matter what you do today, because this market is an all-time high. It doesn't mean that I have stopped buying. I'm still buying. My partner, Ken McElroy, and I, we bought a property in Austin, Texas. It was $31 million. Beautiful property, but we had to be smarter. We had to work harder. And the reason we could buy a $31 million property is because Kenny is also a builder. So he can take the property, take it from $31 million and step it up to $45 million. Let me say that again. Today we bought it, last month we bought it for $31 million, but our plan is to take it to $45. That's our plan. That's how we're going to make our money. So it depends upon what skills. Can you take a property and fix it? So hang out with George. Please, please, please. This is a very spooky time in the marketplaces right now. As you know, China's got their finger on the trigger. Our guy Biden, the most disgusting retreat out of Afghanistan I've ever seen. I just can't believe what's going on. So be very careful because the markets are really, really toppy. So I'm going to show you what I think is the most important thing for right now is this. All of us, Aussie or American or whatever, rich or poor, smart or stupid, male or female, we all have 4 intelligences. There's mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual intelligence. So in today's market, with markets at all-time high, interest rates at all-time low, and our governments are pumping trillions of dollars into the economy, you've got to be smarter on your 4 intelligences. So hang out with George, okay? Because you've got to get smarter mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So let me explain mentally. Mentally means you've got to look at the property objectively. You've got to look at the numbers, just the facts, just the facts. Mentally, what are the facts? What is the rent? How much is the stamp duty? How much is this? How much is that? Just the facts. What gets people in trouble is when emotions kick in. Oh, this is a good deal. When I was in Aussie, this is about 20 years ago, when I was buying property there, I used to get into fights with your property salespeople, your estate agents, because they would actually tell the Aussie people to negative gear. Say, don't worry, buy this property because the property will go up. So let's say your mortgage payment is $1,000, but your rent is only $800, so you're losing 200 Aussie a month. And what the agent would tell you, don't worry, the property will go up. That's when your emotions kick in. And every time somebody said, when I was in Aussie, the property will go up in value, I said, well, you guarantee it. And of course they can't. So please remember this. I don't care what you're investing in, but especially property in Aussie, you've got to hang out with guys like George who know the numbers. Get the real numbers, the facts, Jack. And then you've got to check your emotion, because if you get too excited, or for many people, they're too afraid, and they're afraid of making a mistake, that's a negative emotion here. So get the numbers, keep your emotions in check, and then you take action. So like I said, even though in America the property values are really high and $31 million is a lot of money, we knew that physically we could improve the property and take its value up to maybe about $45 million. We know that, we're not emotional about it, and we can do that here. So those are some of the tricks. And the spiritual part here is this, is what are you investing for? So one of the reasons I invest in property is because spiritually I don't like paying taxes. It just bugs me. So I use debt and I pay no taxes when I'm investing. So those are some of the things I think about here. But spiritually is that my wife Kim and I, we now own about 8,500 rental properties. Spiritually, we're never going to sell this thing. We don't have children. So our plan for our property is we're going to put it into what's called a CRT, a charitable remainder trust. And we'll package it in all this. All of this, brain work, physical activity, and all this goes into a trust. And long after Kim and I are gone, that trust will still provide cash flow for the people out there. It'll do good work for many, many people. So if you're just in it for the greed, that greed is more here, but this here is a spiritual side of here. Why are you investing it for? You're just going to make money? Or are you passing it on to your children or your grandchildren? There's got to be some kind of love in this whole thing here. So those are very, very important things here to remember, especially in this marketplace today. And as I'm talking to you today, right now, the U.S. stock market is crashing. So many people are panicking. What's going to happen? And naturally, all the soothsayers get up there. They say, oh, don't worry, it's going to bounce back up. It's going to bounce back up. It's going to bounce back up. And they're trying to calm you down over here emotionally. When you feel fear, fear is okay. Fear is really good. But you've really got to get in check and then check back in. Talk to a guy like George. What am I concerned about? What are the real numbers here? What can I do? Will this affect my long-term plans for this property here? So let me say something else to you. Listen to George. Take his classes. Follow him. Listen to his logic. Keep your emotions in check. It's okay to be afraid. Probably what's worse than being afraid is being greedy. That's the worst. I can't lose. Every time I hear somebody say, I can't lose, they're going to lose. Okay, because you can always win and you can always lose. So be very, very careful. This is a fourth intelligence. This is probably the most important of all intelligences when it comes to real estate. So let me explain why emotional intelligence is the most important. So it's very important to ask George this question. Okay? Let's say I make a mistake. Let's say I buy this property. Let's keep the numbers easy, $1 million. And it starts to drop like this. Have plan B. Talk to George about plan B. Let's say I make a mistake. Let's say China decides to go bust or whatever happens, because I know you guys are dependent upon China. They go bust out there. If it starts to go down, what's plan B? So let me say it again. We just borrowed $31 million. $31 million is a lot of money. The good thing is it's free money. They just give it to you. If you have a good project and you have a good mental, emotional, spiritual plan. We showed the banker how we're going to take the property from 31 to about 45. The 45 valuation is dependent upon how much rent can we increase. And it doesn't make any difference if it's 31 million or 300,000. The plan is always the same. So that's why I'm really happy to be speaking for George, because his plan is similar to my plan. You have got to be smarter. You've got to be smarter here, smarter emotionally, smarter physically, and smarter spiritually. This is about taking care of Aussie, taking care of the land, taking care of your tenants if you rent it out. It's about being really a good person here too. So those are the things I like to talk to you about, because I can talk to you about cash flow and all those things. George is better at that than me. Another thing I would like to say is this: have a partner. You want somebody to talk to. I'm only here because I had a smart wife, Kim. She is really, really smart. In fact, most of my friends say she's 10 times smarter than me when it comes to property. And she is. She loves property. You know, our property in King's Cross was an exciting property. You know, I used to go into King's Cross for the entertainment. You know, I sat there going, you know, and you Aussies are so kind. Oh, the criminals here at King's Cross are so dangerous. I said, no, your criminals are lightweight. You know, come to New York or something. Those are real criminals, you know. But it's a different country. It's a different land. It's a different spirit. But that means you have to be smarter. So that's kind of my message. Aussies are very smart. You have 4 different intelligences: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. So I wish you all the best out there in your investing future, but have not only a partner, but a great mentor. You know, George and I talk quite often, and when I talk to him, he knows what he's talking about. He's better at me in Aussie real estate because I don't invest there anymore. So take care. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. And I'm wearing my rugby league shirt. I should have worn my rugby union shirt. You know, I played rugby in Bondi and Randwick and Newcastle. We lost every single game. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Love your country. Great, great people. It's a rich country, a lucky country, but get smarter. Thank you very much.